The software on your phone, it could be costing you a whole lot more than just money. So today, we're going to build a smarter digital toolkit. We're swapping out the hidden traps in our app stores for powerful, free, and private software that actually puts you back in the driver's seat.
All right, let's just dive right in. The thing is, our devices are absolutely packed with apps, right? But what's kind of wild is that a surprising number of them, well, they aren't built to help us. Nope, they're built to trick us.
The biggest threat out there right now isn't some virus that's going to steal your data. It's something way, way sneakier called fleeceware. Basically, it uses really deceptive pricing and confusing subscriptions to just drain your bank account, often for a super simple app like a QR code scanner or a photo filter.
And the scale of this problem, it's just staggering. Security researchers over at Sophos found that just 25 of these fleeceware apps on the Google Play Store had been downloaded a combined 600 million times. I mean, just think about that. That's a massive number of people who are potentially being overcharged without even knowing it.
So, how in the world do we avoid these traps? Well, it all starts with understanding a really fundamental choice in the software world. It kind of boils down to two very different ways of thinking about how apps are built and shared.
So on one side, you've got open source software. This is where the actual code, the blueprint of the app, is public for anyone to see, to check, and to improve. And then on the other side, you've got proprietary software, where that code is a total secret, controlled by just one company. And believe me, this one difference, it changes everything, from how flexible an app is to how secure it is.
Okay, so there's this common idea, right? That because the code is public, open source software must be way easier for hackers to attack. And it seems logical, doesn't it? If you can see the whole blueprint, you can find all the weak spots. But that's really not the whole story.
In reality, that transparency is a huge strength. It's like having thousands of expert eyes on the code at all times. This global community of developers can spot and fix flaws with incredible speed. A perfect example of this was the Log4Shell vulnerability. The open source community literally mobilized overnight to create patches. It was amazing.
Now, on the flip side, a lot of us assume that if a big company, with a whole dedicated security team, is managing the code, it must be safer. I mean, they've got a reputation to protect, right?
But that secrecy, it means problems can hide for much, much longer. Users are completely at the mercy of the company to find and fix things. And this approach has led to absolutely massive security breaches. Think about the Equifax data leak or the WannaCry ransomware attack. Both of those exploited flaws that were hidden away deep inside proprietary software.
All right, so now that we've got the lay of the land, let's zoom back in on that initial threat we talked about, fleeceware, and put together a little survival guide. These fleeceware apps, they follow a really simple but predatory playbook. First, they lure you in with a free trial. Then, they use confusing designs. These are actually called dark patterns to hide the real price. And then, bam, they automatically trap you in a super expensive recurring subscription that they make incredibly hard to cancel.
So the key is to look for the red flags before you even hit that download button. Be really wary of vague pricing or weekly charges that are disguised to look like monthly fees. Watch out for a flood of generic 5-star reviews. And always, always ask yourself, does this simple flashlight app really need access to all of my contacts? Probably not.
Okay, enough about the scary stuff. Let's talk about the solutions. Because there's an incredible world of powerful, free, and open source software out there that can replace so many of the tools you might be paying for right now. Let's start with an absolute legend, VLC. If you've ever downloaded a video file and your computer just says, nope, can't play this, you need VLC. It is basically the universal key that unlocks pretty much any media format in existence. No questions asked, it just works. Now, for anyone who's ever wanted to fiddle with audio, maybe for a podcast, a school project, or just for fun, Audacity gives you a full-on recording studio, completely free. It is incredibly powerful, and it's been a favorite of the community for years and years. Okay, this next one is just mind-blowing. It's called Blender. It is professional-grade 3D modeling, animation, and video editing software. We're talking about the kind of thing that movie studios pay thousands of dollars for. And it is completely 100% free, all thanks to a passionate open-source community.
And for all those everyday image edits where something like Photoshop is just total overkill, there's Paint.net. It is the perfect middle ground. It's simple, it's fast, and it's way more capable than those basic tools. It gives you things like layers and effects without a crazy learning curve.
So now we can put all this together, right? We can combine our knowledge of the risks of these proprietary traps with the power of open source to build a toolkit that actively protects our privacy.
So here's a really simple but powerful upgrade you can make. Instead of using a service that scans your photos, you can switch to an alternative like Ente Photos. It uses something called end-to-end encryption, which is a fancy way of saying that only you, and I mean only you, can ever see your pictures.
And you can do the exact same thing for how you talk to people every day. Instead of using messengers owned by a massive social media giant, an app like Signal gives you all the same features, but it's run by a nonprofit, it's fully open source, and it's famous for how private it is.
And yep, even your cloud storage has amazing private alternatives. Services like Nextcloud or Proton Drive are built from the ground up on that same principle of end-to-end encryption. They make sure that your private documents stay exactly that, private.
And one last thing. This is a really crucial tip about fleeceware, so listen up. Deleting the app from your phone does not cancel the subscription. It doesn't work that way. You have to physically go into your phone's App Store or Play Store settings and manually end it there. Don't forget that part.
Look, by understanding the difference between predatory apps, closed-off systems, and transparent, privacy-focused software, you can absolutely take back control. You can build a digital toolkit that truly, genuinely works for you. So the only question left is, what's going to be your first upgrade?